Hey, Will. Hey, Paul.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
Good. We were just working on some of the grant work and getting it into a point where we can put it up, deploy like a demo, so that
Oh,
people can kind
awesome.
of
That's
play with it.
exciting.
Yeah.
Sweet. Where are you guys at with the demo? Or, like with the with
Yeah.
the dev really? What are you going to be demonstrating?
Yeah. So right now we have, I guess there's three functions to it. There's pinning, so it takes data and canonicalizes it and stores it in a database, and then generates an IRI of that, and then it anchors that or like registers that data with the ledger. Um, and then the ledger can use the service to resolve that IRI into the underlying data. Um, and then there's an indexing service, which is just putting it in a graph database. So the demoable thing will be you can post a bunch of data to the service, and it'll store that in its database, where it can be queried from the ledger or using information from the ledger. Um, and yeah, and we've also set it up to use kind of a task queue so it can batch these things, so it's not like too heavily limited by transactions on chain. And it's also set up to use auth and fee grant, which is nice. So you don't have to like create a specific account and fund it. You can just grant access to an account to do some of these things, and then that can be revoked later if you want.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's really exciting.
Yeah.
Um,
What
right
have you
on.
been spending time thinking about? Oh,
Hey, Will. Um,
is
I mean, all the things. There's been a lot moving. It's been a busy week. Last week, I think, was stressful. That you all probably saw the stuff going on in Discord. So holding space for that, and thinking about how to do better and what's next. That was a big piece of things. And Yeah, what else is? I mean, so much is going on. Let's see, what else is big in the regen world? Having some really interesting conversations developing, and I think we'll have some presentations pending again around active inference modeling and the integration of that into um, ecological state monitoring, eco credits, and also some interesting potential work with sort of like the marketplace side of things. So excited to have that news start to trickle out. And there's also a lot of really big stuff happening on the registry side. I think the biggest stuff that's coming is really moving towards Regen Ledger 4.0. And Regen Ledger 4.0 is um, in beta, and I think that they're working on cutting a final release. Probably could happen this week. It might happen early next week, which is pretty exciting, right? So then there'll be, an audit, another audit period, and then we'll shift into the governance process. That reminds me, on governance news, we really need to escalate the allow list decision-making principles up onto governance. So that's important.
I was going to ask about that one in particular. I find it
Yeah.
hard to follow the Commonwealth because I'm not sure. Can you get like email notifications or something? That'd be really useful. But
You should check. I think maybe you can. I know Discourse you could. If you can't on Commonwealth, that would be um, a bummer, I guess. We could ask them. The team's really great. They would probably, think about adding that feature.
Yeah, I remember last time I had tried it. I'm logged in through my Kepler address, and I feel like there was some, since I use a ledger instead of an email. I think last time I tried to do it, there was some issue there, but maybe they've addressed that by now. I'm not sure, and definitely would be worth asking if that's still an issue.
Cool.
I'm trying to figure that out.
At some point, I could share a cool image from some of the work on this upgrading the community staking DAO allocation that the RFP, the foundation, had put out a few months ago.
Cool. Yeah, please. That'd be great.
Okay, so so peer-to-peer validator had responded to the request, and we'll be going live with this as soon as we can get it out there. Essentially, there had been the Commonwealth discussion about, how do we have these 25 million community staking DAO regen tokens staked. We had kind of a very simple algorithm we used to stake those across 5 different $5 million tranches. And then we asked the community, how should we manage these on an ongoing basis? And there was some discussion, some criteria put together, and P2P validator responded to the RFP and said that they would be happy to kind of turn this community feedback into an algorithm and prepare monthly delegation files. And we have some CSV files, which are, you really have to wade in there, but they have kindly prepared them as well as these kind of human readable HTML visualizations. So in this top row, we're seeing the stake distribution without the foundation. So, and one thing you can see is it's not your normal kind of long tail here. There's all these bumps because the CS DAO does influence this delegation does significantly influence the ranking. So here is looking at like this July updated delegations that we're going to be putting out. The red is kind of a new delegation, and then this kind of green teal colors the old delegation. So this is kind of the cumulative results of all of these different factors. So then the different aspects that weight the algorithm, there's this bell curve. So the bell curve puts a negative weight on people at the top and at the bottom of the validator ranking. There's the bell curve has this kind of section at the top, so that way we're not overly centralizing stake with large validators. Has the section at the bottom, so that way there's still dynamism to the validator set. If we just kind of tapered off all at this one weight, then it would be very challenging to break into the set. Then there's uptime score, which is factored in. Then there is this governance score that Dan has compiled from different facets of participation. Dan compiled the community score. And then we have this this governance score that's just the voting records. So those are the factors in here right now. I just thought you all would be interested to see it. We'll be posting more on the Commonwealth forum about this, but this is kind of hot off the presses.
Cool. Can you put it back up again for a second?
Yeah, sure.
So, is there a final foundation stake distribution that this creates? This is like the analysis, but is there a visual of like what the
Yeah.
stake distribution is?
Well, so we don't have a visualization of it. Essentially, I guess I can show you two other things here. One here. Oh, actually, maybe if I open this here, I need to get the other one dug out here. So let's see here. This is one piece of it. So essentially it has all the different validators, their name, the current stake, the foundation stake, and then these different scores, and then does this calculation here for the new amounts and the redelegation. So essentially this turns into this CSV file that's just a whole bunch of redelegation transactions to rebalance across. So this is like I was saying, this is not a good visualization, but is what is the kind of we turn into the executable file.
Cool. Wait, can you show that again?
Yeah.
Have you put this stuff up in Commonwealth yet?
I just got this in, so I haven't put it up yet, but I will be doing that.
Great. It'd be really lovely to see how this affects. It'd be really lovely to see a visual of how this affects stake distribution.
Mm-hmm.
And how it affects, you know, like the number of validators that need to collude to halt the chain, or to, you know, just like those bits of like refining the data visualization in that way for the community to review would be really lovely.
Yeah. So like tracking how it impacts Nakamoto coefficient and things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Nakamoto coefficient, I'm not sure how. I think Gini coefficient is probably the more useful, but
Yep.
yeah, just like,
and actually Gini was what P2P had first proposed instead of the bell curve, to essentially weight have that kind of weight according to a Gini coefficient, but a Gini coefficient doesn't go negative. So the reason we have this bell curve is to introduce these negative weights that actually kind of allow us to make very small delegations to the folks that are on each end of the curve. But so I guess just to say, Gini was one lens we had been considering this through and could
just out of curiosity, why do you want to make very small delegations to people at either end of the curve? That seems like a lot of work for not very much benefit to anybody.
You mean why, like, I guess that the alternatives being making no delegation or making
just no delegate, like just there's a cutoff and you just don't delegate past a certain rate.
So that's what we that's what we had been doing before. The reason that P2P has been as kind of argued against just having an entire cutoff is because then it doesn't really work as an incentive at that point. That one of the ideas here is that no matter where you are in the validator set, there are incentives to improve your governance participation, your community participation. So even though that tapers off at the ends, it's still there. If we just had a cutoff so that, you know, the top 5 or the top 10 receive absolutely 0 delegation, then this program would do nothing to incentivize people in that aspect of the set. to contribute in these ways.
Cool.
So that, I mean, people can argue with that reasoning and are welcome to do that in the forum. This is certainly not set in stone. This is kind of the first version that we're launching with, and we can continue to improve it. Yeah, I'll
Awesome.
go over to the forum now and add these things in.
Any questions or comments? Paul, Will, Insta?
Cool to see.
Insta?
Insta.
Hello guys, how you doing?
Doing great. Good to hear you.
Oh yes, I took a few days off and got back this Monday. But yeah, getting back on track. Uh Guys, I have two questions for you. The first one will be in regards of the governance that you mentioned, Gregory. I
Mhm.
didn't catch like the first word. Is the what list on the governance?
The token allow list. So Regen Ledger for purchasing eco credits, there is an allow list where the community has to vote to allow
Mm-hmm.
Axelar USDC or euro or whatever it is that people might want to use, the denoms of that. And there was a forum post in which I articulated a set of principles that I was proposing people should use to make those decisions, right? And that signaling proposal around how we decide as a community to include a new token currency onto the allow list is what needs to get brought up to, it needs to get sort of turned into a governance proposal and brought on chain.
Okay. Oh yeah, I remember that thread on Commonwealth. I just didn't like get like the first word you say and got like the term like mix up. But if there is something like the staking can do, maybe to push out the conversation towards there, just let me know. Or maybe if you want me to talk about it more on the group, I'll be happy to do that. The other question I have is, do you have a place or a list where I can see other validators that have like offset their carbon footprint?
Oh,
Maybe it's
that's a
a
good
little off topic,
question.
but just wanted to ask that.
That's a great question. No, I don't think we have a public list of validators who've taken the leadership to offset themselves, but we should create a public list around that. That's a great.
All right, awesome. And was only that. Happy to say hello.
Awesome. Great to hear you. I'm just taking a note of that. Sorry for a moment. In the future, we're going to have badges. So we're going to create a badging system, on-chain badging system for sort of for successful completion of offsets, but that's going to take a little while to complete. And, to get it right, it's actually, an interchain badging system. We start to move into standard, like decentralized identity standards and NFT standards and these other pieces. So there's a bit of non-trivial work to make that all kind of like come together in a good way so that a validator can sort of across chains have a certificate of carbon neutrality or whatever. But that is something that's I think in the vision of where we're wanting to go. Cool. Well, I don't have a lot of other updates. I'm happy to give people back a little bit of time today, and yeah, just grateful. Thanks, Will, for sharing that news from the foundation. That's super helpful. Excited to see that. I'm going to use my extra time to push forward and see where we can support getting the proposal up on chain related to the allow list. And and then after that happens, people could start working on allow list proposals for currencies. Insta, if you have my ask for you at Staken, and also, Paul and Will at Cambium, R&D Inc. isn't going to bring any currency proposals. So the, community and validators, it's up to you to just determine, or up to, the currency providers themselves, like Cello chimed in, like a representative of Cello chimed in saying they wanted to see it listed. There currently isn't an IBC Cello yet, but if there was, that could be an option. But, just
No, it's
to
okay.
say,
I
things
get what
won't
you're trying to
work.
say. Don't worry.
Things won't work unless somebody proposes some currencies.
Yeah, of course. And the reason why I said that is it was just like to pushing it a little like broader to get it like on the reach for more people. I don't know, maybe incentivize the conversation to get it going, but it's not after like any incentive or something like that. So but thank you for saying that though.
Yep.
Or maybe I didn't understand what you said.
Yeah, no. So we'll bring that up again in a couple of forums, but the marketplace won't really be live until there's a currency in the allow list. And that could be Regen, that could be Atoms, that could be USDC, that could be multiple all at the same time. But that is a process that needs to happen, and there's a week voting window. So that'll just need to be, and it's pretty simple. You just need the IBC denom, and that, it gets encoded in the blockchain, and those are tokens that can be accepted through IBC and exchanged in the EcoCredit marketplace.
That sounds amazing, sir.
All right. Thanks, everybody. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up, and look forward to seeing everybody in a couple weeks and on the interwebs. And thanks, everybody.
Thanks all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Take care.
Take care.